All right, we're live, and we're a couple of short-handed, but we got the best-looking ones here tonight anyway. So I'm Steve. I'm Steve, run Drip and Bubble Company, and we got Sean, Fat Tire Guy Thomas. And tell them about yourself, Tom. Thomas. Tell us about yourself, Tom. Sean.
I'm just a grease monkey by trade, I guess, jack of all trades.
There you go.
I like
Master of none.
I did have a good weekend. We went to the Freeze for All van in down in Florida. That was a good weekend. Quite a few vans. I didn't count the vans, but there was quite a few.
Yeah.
I even posted one picture. There's they call it, I think, a boonie bug, and it was a kit and what it was is it's on a VW bus chassis. And it was a kit that you could buy, I think, order through Popular Mechanics magazine back in the day.
Well, that's pretty cool.
In '74, and it was pretty good shape. That fella got it out of a scrap yard. He knowed some fellas with a scrap yard, and see, it's got a all fiberglass body, so they didn't, it wasn't no scrap metal to get out of it. So they called him. So what would you give for it? And he got the thing. Some man had been building on that thing since the 70s and never did get it finished and passed away. And his family just took it to the junkyard, to the scrapyard.
I know his pain. I know how that is, man. I work on it anyway. And we got Jim Silva here. Tell him a little bit about yourself, Jim, and your files you got.
Okay. My name is Jim Silva, and I got a blog called the Silva Files. I've written some of my stories have been appeared in the Pontiac Oakland International Smoke Signals magazine, club newspaper. And hi, Copperhead.
Morning, everyone.
So I start off with a lot of stuff about the Rocker Files. I've done some other car stuff, TV movie cars type things, and for Volo Auto Museum up here in Volo, Illinois. And that's about it. So.
And we got the man from down under, Copperhead Customs, man. Tell everybody about yourself, brother.
Well, I got an ugly head. I know that.
I think you look like you got a haircut.
Yeah. Our channel's just building cars, doing all sorts. I don't know. It depends what we feel like doing. Whether we're doing a hot rod or a rat rod or just doing a detailing video, or who knows.
There you go.
You like catching snakes too, don't you?
Yeah, I know. We don't like snakes.
No, I'm with you on that.
I have to say that I found Copperhead's channel this week. I looked at a couple of his videos. Very good. I like him.
He's getting fancy on us.
Yeah, I just love the one about the Vegemite.
We thought that.
Which I have to ask, did you really eat 3 spoonfuls of that stuff?
It's real salty, very salty. Yeah, it's very salty.
Okay.
You don't mean to have that much. That's the problem.
No, I won't. Again, I swear I won't. Again. Yep, I ain't gonna do that anyway. We got Michael Beeman says good evening. Those Copperheads to the Copperheads there, and John Wilburn says I don't want no more teaspoons of Vegemite, John. No doubt, man. He's had a lot of stuff going on, but anyway. Copperhead, man, you got that car looking good. I don't know if y'all watched his last video where he done the interior. I've done that a couple of times. That's a lot of work, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, time consuming.
Probably take a lot of time too, right?
But I don't know, over a couple of days it was. It's not hard. It's all easy stuff anyone could do. It's just takes a bit of time. That's all.
Yeah. It's basically when you go from like that Bedford to that Statesman, it's like you went from a real complex model kit to that needs, different type stuff, but you go to a snap together model kit.
When you go much.
Yeah, it's like you went back from skilled to non-skilled.
Yeah.
That's right.
I sent you that clip down there, man. I figured it'd go good, but I don't think you got about 25 or 30 views on that Vegemite.
I don't know. I can't work this thing in. Some things go good, and then things I don't think will do. Like that little Hillman's been real popular.
The which one?
The little tiny Hillman minx.
Oh yeah.
That's a fairly rare. That's a fairly rare car, ain't it? or is it
Yeah, I
not
suppose
down
they're
there?
getting rare, but I thought that wouldn't have done anything. To tell you the truth.
Have you driven it yet?
Nah, I've sort of parked it because the brake lines. I'm at the point. Well, there's a little bit of noise in the motor,
Mhm.
and so I'm going to do an oil change and see. And that, well, the water pump doesn't seem to be. I can't get the water pump working, and the master cylinder works, but I can't. The flexi line seems to be blocked. So I'm at the point where I've got to throw a little bit of money at it, and there's no point if the motor's got a knock, then there's no point doing it. So
Make sure if you change that oil that you don't just pour some 530 or something in there. You might have to get some diesel oil or something that's got zinc in it.
yeah, I was going to put like a 50-70 with zinc, like high zinc oil in it.
Yeah.
Michigan Snapperhead says hello. Now there you go, Copperhead and a Snapperhead. I guess that'd be a snapping turtle. I guess.
You know what? You might have to rename the show the Copperhead Show.
I know everybody loves Copperhead, man.
Everybody's calling him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that pretty little round head he's got. That's what it is.
It's glowing, isn't it? It's glowing in this light.
Man, I tell you, I wear a hat because I ain't got no hair. But
I normally do too. But I only just got out of bed. I slept in this morning.
Oh, so what time is it down there?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, I slept in. I don't know what's going on. I've normally been up for hours.
Well, that's all right, man. Needs a little rest every now and then.
Yeah. I'll wake up in a panic going, man, I've got 5 minutes. It takes my computer like half hour to warm up.
Yeah, I know that is.
Well, now that I'm retired, I try to get up around 9:30. It's nice. Except that now I have my grandkids. I live with my grandkids. My grandkids live with us, so we get up at 7, and then I go adopt them off at the bus stop, and then I come back, and then at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I go lay down till like 10.
Well, it must be rough.
It is. It's terrible. I'll tell you. I don't wish that on anybody.
I've actually started open my shop an hour later than what I was, because you get down there and it was like opening a bar. You had to wait for everybody to get moving before you'd get any customers in. So I told my wife, I said, let's just start coming in an hour later. There ain't no sense in coming in here and, just standing here. There's stuff, we've got stuff that's going on, but I mean, it's just, I was so used to working in the plant all them years. I was used to getting up 4:30 in the morning every morning. And,
when I wake up, I mean, I drive a school bus, so I got to be up and gone. I leave the house early. So if I sleep till 7 o'clock on the weekend, that's late for me. And I can't get past 7. I'm like, okay, I got to get out. Let's roll over. If I made it to 9 o'clock, I'd feel terrible all day.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah. So now, Copperhead, did you gain any subscribers last week after we had that live chat?
No, I don't think so.
Hey, I get you. I just subscribed today to you.
Oh, I've got some. I've got about 50, but it was mainly from my shorts and stuff, I think.
I don't know, man.
I've been snacking all my shorts up.
Mine, I think they're slowing down on the shorts. They're talking about making money with them. So I don't know what's going on with that. My shorts are not doing anything.
Mine aren't either. I'm just looking now. I've got some that have had 4 views, and they never did that. So
yeah. So I think they're slowing down. And then I've had a couple of videos that went crazy, which has been really good. But then
I've been watching yours. It's gone off its head, hasn't it?
Yeah, but like the last one I uploaded, it's just like 1,000 views so far. And it's just, you never know. Of course, I got a do better slip. I guess I call them do better slips, but they're like, you need more content. You need more content. And I'm like, man, you can't fix these cars in a week. I don't know how they expect you to do that. So I don't know. We're going to do some stuff next week. Try to upload some more.
Who's saying that to you?
The YouTube channel, the analytics. You go to the analytics and study that kind of stuff.
What? And it's telling you to upload more?
Yeah, they said, upload more if you can. Yeah, basically what they said.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep, because they were getting kind of the channels dropping off, and I need more content. But I mean, I can't churn that stuff out. That dart, we could have had it fixed, but the parts, man, you can't get parts. I don't know how y'all.
The only thing you could do is like that last one you did, the second episode thing on the dart is to have turned that into 2 or 3 videos.
Yeah, I thought about that too. But now one thing I have learned on this, that if the videos are less than 20 minutes, they don't pay as much. They don't pay as much.
No. But if they're under 8 minutes, they don't even put ads in them. It's only at the start of the beginning.
Right.
So when they're that sort of length,
Dizzy Izzy. There's your name, Dizzy Izzy.
When they're like that 40-minute, then when they do pay, like they pay good. But like I don't know, I haven't been paid yet.
Right.
I think I've only made $100. I'm not quite even $100 over the whole time we've been doing it.
That's it. You talking about the shorts now? I did a little short on but I haven't been putting hashtags on my shorts, and I posted up a short last Sunday. It only got 31 views in 7 days now, and I did a short this morning. It's 8 hours ago. And anyway, it's got 411 views, but I used hashtags on it and everything. I've got a couple little videos from that van event that I went to that I'll probably load up, little shorts. They're little short videos. They ain't long. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm just having fun with this. I mean, we just do this
that's
anyway.
Me too. Like I still, the No Name 500 thing is, I've had a channel, I think, if I remember right, it's 9 years old, and I ain't got 300 and something subscribers, but I'm not constantly, I'm not putting content out all the time consistently on it. But
I'm gonna try to go to that No Name Nationals just to meet all these guys. I just think it'd be cool to meet all these other YouTube guys.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good fun trip and everything.
Well, now, Copperhead, do you look at your analytics on your YouTube? I just want to mine will tell you what most of the viewers search for, or the best hashtags or stuff. Do you look at that?
Yeah, I've even got this other. Well, I watch all these other videos too. I've teaching you how to do stuff and make stuff better and all that as well. And then I've even got them. You can actually like type in your title to them, and they'll like reword it not better, and like say, oh no, that's not. They'll change it, and they give you all those things that are in your analytics, make them dumb them down a bit, so they understand a bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try everything, and I don't know.
Just hit it. This is.
I don't know. I think I'm like editing the hell out of mine now, and I don't know. I don't know what you've said. You just watched the last one. I don't know what you think. I think it's pretty good, but
yeah, I liked it.
So I don't know.
I think that the one feller that's making money with this is doing it really about the easiest ways. That guy from England, that Beard Meats Foods, he's got, I forget how many million subscribers, but he just goes around eating. And that's all his videos is him eating. So he's got millions. But now he can eat the four of us under the table. He's a little bitty skinny guy. Everybody that looks at him is like, no, he can't eat all that.
Why didn't we? I should have done that instead of cars. I can eat better than I can work on cars.
Oh, I guarantee you.
You could eat like 3 times a day and make 3 different videos a day as opposed to a car over a month.
Well, they said if you want to lose weight, eat more. They said at least eat 6 times a day. But I'm telling you, man, after about the 3rd Big Mac up there, I said, man, I can't eat nothing else. I just can't do it. I don't have a kid supposed to eat 6 times a day.
Yeah.
I think Dizzy Izzy. I love that name, Dizzy Izzy. Look like he got a little barracuda there. I had a barracuda back years ago, but I don't know. Like I said, that dart, we got it up there and got it running, and then after you get started, we found out the rear end was out of it, and then it hit me. I knew the minute I see the rear end was broke or the spotter gear was chipped. I remember when we quit driving that little Dodge Dart. I remember right then, just like it was yesterday, because the rear end was popping. So we parked it and we just never drove it anymore. But the car wasn't worth nothing back then. I mean, ain't nobody wanted a Dodge 4-door Dodge Dart. I even thought about pulling parts off of it at one time, but we just never did, thank God. But we got her going, but I got my brakes coming in. They ordered the wrong brakes for it and this, that, and other, and everything's next week. But I guess
that car is actually in good shape for as long as it's set.
Yeah.
That's the thing everyone doesn't realize is all this stuff costs you money, doesn't it? Like buying these parts and each one of these cars, it's like there's well, at least you don't have to buy them. You can just go drag them out of the woods. But on my thing, every one of these new cars I do, it's something else, like even like the Oakland and stuff. It's there's a bit more I can do, but then it's at the point where I've probably got to throw $6,000 at that hot rod to get it finished. Like and it's not like we got an endless bank account.
Yeah. Well, I was glad to become a major sponsor for the Dart.
Yeah, he had the rear end up there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's like, I ain't gonna use that 7 1/4 rear end. I'd put 8 3/4, and I said, I'll take it, man. I'm just gonna leave it like it is. So this is he got a 65 Valiant 2-door, the Angry Valiant. I love them low cars. I actually had a cousin of mine, Lynn. He outrun the cops one time in a 66 Valiant 4-door. No, I think it's a 2-door. I think he still got it. 6-cylinder car. He outrun the cops up here back years ago in a 6-cylinder car. I'd be embarrassed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. In a 6-cylinder. I'd be embarrassed. Of course, they had them old, I guess in 400 LTDs. They didn't have no power anyway back then.
Was that in the horsepower whenever they started killing horsepower in the
Yeah.
70s?
Yeah, they had no big car. He had that little old bird and half a dozen, just eat them alive.
But you talk about horsepower doesn't always win the race, because I literally seen a 4-cylinder Ranger outrun a Corvette on Unicoi Mountain. And I mean, run off and leave, because now it was going down the mountain. The guy in the Corvette was scared to go down the mountain, and that feller in the Ranger, he was almost, I think that feller could have made it in NASCAR, because he didn't have no fear, and no fear, and he'd get that little truck would go where he wanted it to go. It was unreal.
Well, that's the thing about growing up, you always get outrun till you get to the top of the mountain, but then going back down the other side, everybody loses their nerve, and that's where I'd always pass everybody. I'm like, okay, I got this now. I got the wind beneath my wings, you had some gravity behind the jump.
You could make some fast guys look bad going downhill, couldn't you?
Yeah.
It's just, no fear, bud.
Yep. I guarantee it.
The driver is the important part of the car.
I'm telling you, man, absolutely. And I'm with you on that 100%. I don't know, Jim, if you ever watched Smoking the Bandit or
yeah,
Black Dog.
I've seen that like 8 times already. Or 10
well, that
times.
mountain that he's doing all the driving on and all that stuff, that's the mountain we live on, Unicoi Mountain. That and then
really?
Yeah, if you ever watch Black Dog, you ever see Black Dog with Patrick Swayze?
No.
Well, if you ever watch it, they got the trucks that's on the mountain. They push them off the side of the mountain, the big 18-wheelers and all that. That's on Unicoi Mountain. We have to go across that mountain anytime we go anywhere. That's kind of the way we. Yeah. So you got into a little town called Helen. So
Helen.
Yeah.
But to us,
that's a little town back in the day. We always called it Sin City, because that's where you go to get alcohol. Because back then in Towns County, there was no liquor sales. There was beer, but no liquor sales in Towns County. But of course, we've got 3 liquor stores in our little city now that's got 900 people in it.
Yeah, we got a bunch of
Oh, there goes Helen. Now they're not going to make any money now. So.
Exactly. Man, Helen's done. Yeah, we got 3 liquor stores.
So was there a cop sitting at the bottom of the hill in Helena to get everybody when they're coming down?
They usually patrolled it because they had a lot of bars down there. Them cops stayed busy with them bars down there,
Oh yeah. Forget about the speeders. Forget all the alcohol guys.
Yeah. I reckon what's that guy in Texas that come out here to that place down at Cleveland, all them mopeds.
Oh yeah, Gas Monkey.
Gas Monkey come up here last week and done a video on this. What is that called down there, Sean? I don't even know.
They call it 5150 Mopars or something like that. Or anyway, that was where they had bought a bunch of Mopar bodies and stuff, and they had a bunch of parts.
Yeah, we went to hell and back. I'm gonna have to remember that unfinished project. That's a good one.
Yeah.
We went to hell and back. Yeah, I'm gonna remember that. Helen, Georgia. Yeah, what is it called now? 5150?
I think that's what it was. But anyway, they had a bunch of cars. They're selling it off.
It's
down there
Mopar
because they lost the property. There was a couple of Chevrolets, one Chevrolet truck, and they had a Pontiac Le Mans or GTO or something down there too. They sold like a 68 or 69.
Yeah, he come down there and he come up to Helen. I don't know if I watched a little bit of the video, and then I don't know if he showed anything about Helen, but Helen's like it's like going to Germany. It's a German town. That's what it's set up like Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the whole town set up like Germany. So a lot of folks are like, where do you live? I said, I'm just over the mountain from Helen. But everybody loves it. But we hate it because we have to go through it every time we go somewhere, if you go down that way.
And it's the main road to go, of course.
And
there's some bypasses.
bumper to bumper, man. And
oh, jeez. That's too bad.
I think what is that boy come down here from that gas monkey, where it is? He drinks
Richard
too
Rollins.
much, man. He needs to quit drinking. Every time you look at him, he's holding a
Well,
beer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand. You know, I know them guys are pretty good guys, but even like the roadkill guys, they're over there acting like they're 14-year-old cracking open beers to where everybody can see, you know, like I don't never get to drink beer. Look here, you know, don't tell mom. And they put, you know, it.
Good old Richard Rollins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Richard. Well, he seemed like a
Richard
good guy,
Rollins.
but he drinks a lot. Everybody I know my age don't drink anymore. Everybody gets up and like, I can't do
I
that.
don't drink it that much anymore. A glass of wine or something like that once in a while.
Yeah, I had enough of that.
Yeah.
Them guys are selling up here in Georgia, and they're going to Texas and California. There's no way I would go to California with a shop as high as Texas.
Well, see, what they've got, Stephen, is they've had 3 holding places, and this was the East Coast one. Then they've got a place in Texas where they stockpile them, and then they've got a place in California where they stockpile them. But they bought every old Mopar they could buy,
right?
and hoarded them up. It was a Mopar hoard, is what it was, and
Mhm.
you know, of course, they was trying to make sure that people would get them that could save them.
Mhm.
And everything. I don't want to sound like I'm negative talking about them because I'm not. But it didn't matter how bad a shape it was in or what, they would buy it. You know, if they could negotiate a price and buy them, and they brought them in, and they lost the lease. They had that old building. I don't know what that old building was there in Cleveland. It's been there for years, ain't
I
it?
always thought it was a machine shop or something at one time. I've never been there. I called him on a couple of parts I was needing, but he never had anything I had. Dizzy Izzy's telling on the moonshiners up there in Tennessee. You ain't supposed to be telling about the moonshiners out there. You give them trouble.
Yeah. So is this place going out of business? 51 or whatever?
No,
No,
they're
they're-
actually what they're
they-
doing. They're moving to. They've lost the lease here, and they've got another place in Tennessee. I mean, in Texas, and another place in California. So they're moving all the stuff out there.
Yeah, they was
Okay.
just they was selling what they could, so they wouldn't have to transport it. But you know, they had all kinds of AMD quarter panels for the Hollywood Chargers and everything. That's what I call them. Don't get me wrong, I like them too, but
You have to define Hollywood Charger.
it's 68 through 70.
Okay,
They're-
Hollywood
yeah,
Charger.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Proper.
Hollywood. You know, everybody will trip over all the other Chargers to get to the Hollywood Chargers. You know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that General Lee is the biggest. I would say the most recognizable car in the world.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
But it started even before them because you know, like you go to Steve McQueen, that Bullet, that Charger that was in there, and then
Yeah.
of course that Mustang, that '68 Mustang, it was the Bullet Mustang. You know, you can't touch one of them cars either. And you know, and that's whenever when Hollywoods them up, you know, and then it's everybody wants that car. And,
Don't forget about Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry.
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Remember
they had that
Smashed up
Charger.
one there. And of
Yeah.
course, you got the Fast and Furious. They love Chargers. I mean,
Oh,
Vin
yeah.
Diesel's always driving one of those.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what was it? Another one I was thinking of that. No, that was Vanishing Point. That was a Challenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they actually run a Camaro into the bulldozer. I don't even think they
Right.
used
Yeah.
a Challenger.
Yeah, well, there was plenty of Camaros for them to wreck. So
Well, they're pretty close looking, you know.
yeah. Well, all of them car guys copied each other except for the Pacers and the Gremlins.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm like
nobody-
getting a Coke bottle shape on that Charger, just sharp as it can be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's
That
a good
is-
looking
that-
car.
A
That
69 is my
that
favorite.
71 that I built, I really like that car.
Yeah, I like the 71. Really, I don't know, man. My favorite is the 69 or 70 Plymouth Sports Satellite. I know everybody. Oh, I like the 70 Sports Satellite. I just think that's the prettiest
Yeah.
Plymouth they ever put out, as far as the A body. I mean, B
I
body.
like a 69 Roadrunner.
Roadrunner pretty.
GTX.
Yeah.
I like that. I've always loved that one.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's crazy. We had you think about, gosh, but we had a 70 GTX. It was it had the air grabber hood, orange car, and I'm just trying to remember, it was automatic 440 car with the air grabber. And man, we sold that thing. I mean, we pretty much just give it away. I mean, just absolutely give it away.
That's a high dollar car now.
That was a sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And why I didn't keep that, I'll never know. And I had a 71 Barracuda with a 318 3-speed, and I give it away, which that'd have been a cool. That Barracuda
Nice.
to me is prettier. And
I love Barracudas. My favorite car of Mopar is Miracle, the 70 through 71.
Yeah.
72. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, I gotta ask you guys your opinion on this.
What?
I was watching Mecum auctions last week or so ago, and they were interviewing Tim Walburn from the Walburn Museum, and they asked him what percentage difference is it between an automatic and a stick shift, and he said 25% higher for a stick shift. Do you guys go along with that?
I think it's going to get more than that. I believe it's going to grow more than that. Yep.
Okay.
But I don't know. Of course, growing up, you always wanted a 4 on the floor. I don't know why. I loved it. I mean, I had that little 67 Barracuda, and he had a 340. We put it was a 273 car. I put a 340 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Put a big block 4-speed behind it. It's the 4-speed. It's so big it hit the floor pan. I had a couple little dents in the floorboard. We had to push it up in there to get it bolted in. But I put it back to automatic now. I got rid of the 4-speed. But and when it comes to drag racing, I mean, I don't know. I think you can do better with the automatic.
Oh yeah, all of your fastest cars are automatic.
Yeah, that quick change. But I think that 4 on the floor, man, that just looks so cool, especially pistol grip, man, all that stuff that Mopar had. And
they had the classiest stuff. I tell you, with the handle, pistol grip handle, the colors and everything. It's like, and nowadays everything was so black.
Unfinished Project wants to know, do you mean by percentage difference on that? Can you read that when I put that up?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, he was talking about the pricing of the car is what
the value of it.
Yeah, it would be 25% higher price for a stick shift as opposed to an automatic, is what Tim Walburn said. So,
well,
hope that answers
3 of the 7 that I've got are 4-speed cars. Of course, 4-speed truck and 4-speed, 2 4-speed cars. But that Duster, it was a factory automatic, but it was a factory 340 hypo automatic car, and I put a 4-speed in it. And I don't think that I hurt the value by doing that. I didn't have none of the running gear numbers matching running gear for it anyway, so I just built it the way I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds good to me.
Some people don't, they won't even look at a car if it ain't number matching and everything on it. But I'm not in that tax bracket. I'm not there.
No, I know.
I'm not there.
Well, it's funny, like when we go up there to Pigeon Forge and they've got some you'll see like a 307 Nova there and they've got numbers matching. Well, guess what, bud? Them numbers don't matter. Them numbers, Now if it's a factory, 402 big block or something like that, then but when these guys are putting numbers matching on these non-power, what I call, well, it's like that Duster. That Duster is really the only car that I've got that was a factory fast car. The rest of them was just just cars. They wasn't now that
Copperhead just died.
Oh my God.
He died.
Live on your show, Steve. It's live on your show. Oh my God.
Snake bit.
I don't know, man.
We've got a little wheel spinning there, so he's seeing stars. Is that what they call a chrome gnat? That's the way they used to do, ain't it?
Yeah.
The chrome gnats.
As long as it's not a line going straight across, you're okay.
There you go. I'm with you on that. Jim, what is the Tiger of the Year award? You're the Tiger of the Year award.
Oh, I had a feeling you're going to ask me about that.
Yeah, Tony the Tiger here. We got royalty in with us today.
Yeah, it's probably the first award I've ever won. So it's like I'm just so happy about it. I can't tell you how much it means to me. What it is the Cruising Tigers Car Club that I belong to gives out every year a Tiger of the Year to a person who has done a lot of work for the club and has done just done a lot of stuff, and as a show of appreciation. And so I got it for this year. As a matter of fact,
we got to see it.
There it is, right there, ladies and gentlemen.
There you
That's
go.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So now I got
GTO
to hang this.
You done
I mean, I don't win awards for my car because it's a driver, but I had won a couple little trophies for that. But this is the first thing I've ever won, and it's like really cool. So
Well, you got when you do the your car, you got a whole setup with the James Rockford thing. You got when you set that car up. Do you have people call you wanting you to come to your shows just to bring the car and all the memorabilia and stuff like that? I mean, I know we have a lot of stuff, cars, tries to get stuff like that in to draw people.
You know what? I have the only person has ever asked me to bring stuff like that is Ed Fossil from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Right.
In 2017, he made arrangements, and they transported a car down there. I don't have a place I don't really have a trailer or a vehicle to tow it, so so that'll be the only problem with getting something. But I would love to be able to go to places and do that. I even went out and bought myself a one of those big Hollywood lights that they have for the set to go with the car and stuff. So if anybody wants to have my car, if they're willing to spring for shipping the stuff down there, I'll be happy to take it any place because I love it. You know, it's funny. When I do car shows, my wife usually sits by the car, and I usually go look at the cars, of course, and everything like that. And now I'm realizing how much I need to stay by my car because you meet the most interesting fans of Gardner and the Rockford Files.
Oh yeah.
And and when I went out to Barrett Jackson 4 years ago when we sold James Gardner's personal Rockford File Firebird, you meet people that know him, or met him, know his daughter. You hear all kinds of neat stories about him and people from the show. And it's I don't do it for money. I just do it to promote that show and Garner. And I just love talking to people. So, but yeah,
for me that was a huge show, and I still watch it today. I love it.
When you took it down to Charlotte, was that at the Food Line Auto Fair, or what event was it?
Auto Fair, yeah.
Yes, Food Line
It's
Auto
inside
Fair.
the building.
That's really a good show. That Hornet's Nest down there and everything. Of course, COVID really was a setback for them guys down there. And see, the thing, what a lot of people don't understand with them guys is, you know, that Hornet's Nest that does that show, they have to rent that track. They don't own the track. And see, whenever they canceled the two places, when people had bought their places, they bought their spots, but that Charlotte Motor Speedway didn't give them their money back. And so all of them people, you know, and that ain't some big rich organization, that Hornet's Nest. And so they couldn't give the money back because Charlotte Motor Speedway didn't give the money back to them. You know, and there was a lot of people upset, you know, and I'm never going back to that. They took my money. And, you know, I think what they did when they finally got to have a spot, they was like a 35% discount for people that had lost their, you know, where they'd bought their spot in 2020.
But they're still doing that though, ain't they?
Yeah, they're still doing Food Line Auto Fair. But,
I remember I went down there and I bought a bunch of parts, and I didn't want to carry around because I had like an intake and all that stuff. And I told them, I said, I'm going to leave it here and I'll come by and pick it back up when I get ready to go. I couldn't remember where it was at, man. I was lost. I had this other guy, thank God he was like a mule. He couldn't remember where he was going, but I couldn't find my parts. So it's huge down there. There's a lot of parts.
Oh, yeah.
So you said Food Line. I thought it was the Auto Fair.
It is.
Well, see, it did used to be the Food Line Auto Fair because they did have a little bit of sponsor help.
Okay.
You know, that's the grocery store that's in that area. Of course, they used to have like at Bristol Motor Speedway there in Tennessee and North Carolina and all that. That Food Line is a pretty big grocery store chain there for the Southeast.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. I've never been to a show that was that big. I mean, on Saturday and Sunday, it's like a nonstop crowd of people walking by.
Oh, yeah.
Stopping to talk to you and stuff. As a matter of fact, that's the first time anybody ever asked me for an autograph. Guy came up to me because my car was on the magnet for the show, and I hadn't even seen the magnet yet. I go, "Where the hell did you get that?" The guy goes, "Well, they're giving them away over there." I said, "Oh," and then I saw Ed Fossil, who runs the show, coordinates the show. And he says, "Oh, that was supposed to be a surprise." And so I got a couple of those and stuff. But I mean, everybody that worked on that show when I was there was just wonderful people and stuff.
Yeah. Well, now, you know, we had rakes on last week, with that
Mhm.
show. That show down at East Coast, Emerald
Oh,
Coast
yeah.
Cruise in Florida. That's a big show. That's a big show. And I reckon he called me last week, wanted me to come down and MC the thing. So I'm thinking about doing that. That'd be a lot of fun. Get to go down there.
Oh,
for
you
free.
should do that, man. You should do that.
Yeah.
You're good at it.
Yeah, I think I'll have a lot of fun doing that. So, but I think that's
Mhm.
going to be fun. He's got some people. He's trying to get younger people to come in, to
Mhm.
the show because, of course, I guess I'm 50, but I feel like I'm an old man, but these younger crowds, and he always tries to have some star power there. He always has some meets and greets. I got him the guy that done Scooby-Doo, the voice of Scooby-Doo. He's a cool guy. I got him down there. And
Mhm.
I got him at, what's that girl with All Girls Garage? Got her down there one time. She was really
Bogey?
cool. Yeah, Bogey.
Bogey?
Yeah. Yeah, I got Bogey down there for him. But anyway, I don't know. But I told him, I wonder if like some of these YouTube channels we got, look like that would be a draw to a lot of younger people,
Yeah, for some of that younger bunch that does, I think it would be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they need to have a bracket for some of them cars that the younger people are into, like
He's bringing in tuners, I think. He's got tuners
Yeah.
already, and he's bringing in the newer stuff. He's kind of
Yeah.
mark on that.
Because there's some guys that get mad, they get offended when they see, if I'm a muscle car guy and 70s car guy, but if there's a feller out there tuning up, his little Honda Civic or even his little old one of them little old smart cars, trying to make it faster.
Well, I
That's
draw
what-
my line there, smart car now. Let's draw the line somewhere. We got to draw a line
Well,
somewhere.
you talk
It's
about
a pretty
power
roller skate.
You're talking about power to weight race car. Just because you won't fit in it, don't mean that it couldn't be a nice little car.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna ride around a Prius. And it's
Yeah.
Prius. That's what it's called, a Prius.
Yeah.
But Prius.
Well, that little old smart car though, see, that was just that little old rear engine, rear wheel drive car.
yeah,
You remember Johnny Acre had one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
still got it.
it's a little bitty roller skates, what it is, ain't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. I call it pregnant roller skate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ain't much to them.
But if
Yeah.
the feller's out there trying to make it go faster, that's what it's all about.
But I reckon the smart cars they got in England or wherever they're from are completely different than ones here. These over here's got the Mitsubishi running gears in it. Now I'm not a Mitsubishi fan at all. That's one of the reasons in the 80s that I really turned against Chrysler products when they started shipping that Mitsubishi stuff in, calling it Chrysler. And I'm like, them things smoked and I am just not a Mitsubishi fan at all.
The VW drivetrain was a little better, wasn't it?
That Volkswagen now, the first little cars they come out with they got the little, the 2.2
Yeah, the K
Volkswagen. I
car
call it
with
a
the
Volkswagen
Volkswagen.
motor. Them are good little engines on them things. But that
Yeah.
Mitsubishi stuff, I had a couple of them Conquest TSIs, them bad rides. They really were. That 2600 turbocharged with a 5-speed, they were.
Yeah.
But man, they smoked. You couldn't keep them from smoking. They just smoked and burnt oil, and then the
That
timing
bad-
chains would go bad on it. You'd change the timing chain on it, and then the rod fly out the side of the block.
It was always something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, no, you
I
can't fool
think
me.
it was just preparing people for these modern cars because these modern cars has got so much where they've got literally computer stuff controlling stuff inside the engines. These engines are not very reliable. It's
Well,
it's-
I wonder now. You got Chrysler, which I've always been a Dodge man. That's kind of what I lean towards. But now it's owned by Fiat, and we know what they have been making for the years. Where is Chrysler going right now? They're talking about all.
they're talking about that Jeep, and I don't know if it's Jeep and truck, but I haven't read up on it, but they're talking about Stellantis, and I think that's what's building the Jeeps and maybe the trucks.
I
now
don't know.
Because see, they separated Ram from Dodge. They try to break it all up because they was looking at what was making them the most money to where they could kill them other names off if they wanted to. And it's kind of like, that Chrysler, the Chrysler Pacifica is the only thing Chrysler out there now. And I don't know if they've
They don't
killed
have
it
the
off
300
yet.
anymore. They don't have the 300.
No, they're not supposed to be. I think this is the last run that they're doing. But now they brought a 6.4 liter SRT for this last year that they're going to be making them.
Well, I think
But
that's a Pugo. How do you say it? Pugo. I think that's all it is. Pugo.
Yeah.
I think that's just a Pugo with the Dodge emblems on it. That really worries me a little bit, about that. The best thing ever happened, Lee Iacocca, I'll give him credit where credit's due. He saved Chrysler, and he did it. There's no doubt. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be. No doubt,
Right.
would not be.
Yeah.
And but now when when Mercedes joined in with the Chrysler, I think that's really when the turnaround come as far as the horsepower and a lot of the ingenuity they had that turned it around.
Well, you take some of them old Mercedes diesels, some of them like them old 300Ds.
Mhm.
Them cars was just about bulletproof. I mean, if you just maintained them, just make sure it had oil and water in them, them things would run, forever.
Yeah.
You might have to do a little bit here and there, but they was really good cars. But these new Mercedes has got so much electronics in them.
Well, they all
Golly.
do. They all do. They all
They
got.
all
I mean,
do.
this is what I'm looking. I'm looking at the future because I'm thinking one of these days I'm going to buy me one of them new Dodge Challengers when they get about 15, 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look
Oh,
at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Then
When
when
you
you
can get it for $1,200, huh?
Yeah, I'm waiting to get them down about $1,200. But
Mhm.
I just don't know. I'm not them Pugos, and I think if I'm not mistaken now, Pugo. Who is that group? I know you got Fiat, Maserati. There's another great name, Maserati. I mean, they ain't never made anything that I ever thought was anything count. I mean, good looking stuff. I mean, there's some cool cars out there, but I don't think they're worth the count.
The only thing cool about Maserati is whenever Joe Walsh talked about it.
Yeah,
That was a cool. That's where it ended right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had never really cared about foreign cars. We have a Mazda now that we have in a Hyundai, and in fact, my Ford Fusion is built on a Mazda, I think, suspension and
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
yeah,
and stuff. I mean, it's a good car. I mean, it's fast and stuff.
right.
I always liked American made stuff.
Is it a V6 Fusion?
Yep.
Well, just get ready to.
2007.
Whenever it gets time for a water pump, get ready to get about $1,500 out of your bill fall.
For a water
Yeah.
pump?
Yes, sir. For a simple water pump.
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
they run it off that dual timing chain.
Oh.
And then you get a new timing chain too, right?
No, they'll they just if you send it to the Ford place, it's like 1,500 and some change, and all they're doing is changing the water pump. They're not putting no guides on the timing chain or nothing like that, because all that that would just make the price go up. But you're talking about a working class car. That's for
Right.
a working class man. You say
Mhm.
simple life. I just need something to get me back and forth to work. And it's overall, it's a fairly reliable car. And it's not, when you're comparing it to what trucks cost and everything, it's fairly
yeah.
reasonable priced. But then, when they put a maintenance part in it that costs us that much between the part and labor to change on a working class's car, they've just killed it. There is nobody building a car for the working class now.
I'm gonna tell you, this is my theory on that. If they would come back out with the Dodge Dart or the Valiant with a slant six, roll up windows, air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, I couldn't keep them on the lot. I'm telling you, they couldn't
No.
keep them on the lot because I mean, you keep them
Not
things
for the
running.
working class anyway.
Yeah,
But,
this is it's no
Oh, yeah.
frill. Just this is to get back and forth to work. Something,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, dependable, but. I guess they couldn't sell enough parts to fix them because they wouldn't never break down if they built them like they did back in the day. Because them.
That goes back to the thing that they build cars now with so much stuff that something's always going wrong, and you can't fix it in your own garage unless you have a computer. And it's like I remember tuning up a car and having maybe a big, Sun machine there for tuning it up or something. I remember using the old feeler gauge to set points in my old '72 Chevy Impala. And
Right.
nowadays you got to have a freaking computer
Yeah.
plugged into your computer into your car
Yeah.
just to be able to regulate air, gas, fuel mixture, and it's like, oh my gosh.
You can't do it. My dad,
That's why
he cuts electronic conditioning. He said, I don't want none of that stuff. He said, give me a set of points. He said, if they go bad, he said, I can wrap them up with the gum wrapper. And he said, I can make it home, so.
Yeah. I'm running the little MSD box on most of my stuff because, see, the problem that you have with points now,
Mhm.
Napa sells the best points, but like if you go to CarQuest, the riser on the points will wear off in 3,000 miles.
Mhm.
It's just, they don't make it out of material that's worth a hoot anymore. And
Crap.
it's
That sucks.
it's just there's little things where they're trying their best to keep these old cars. Of course, I've got 7 carburetor cars that's on the road and working, and
Mhm.
I've only got 2 fuel injection. And if any of them had the I'd rather have my carbureted any day you know, because I can fiddle with it and, like you say, get to the house.
Well, you know, it's funny when you're talking about the $1,500 for an oil pump. I took my car because my Fusion has a little oil leak, and I took it to my mechanics, and they told me, he says, you know what, it's just a little leak. You should probably just leave it, because if we have to replace it, the gasket on it or whatever, it's going to cost you $1,000. So
Wow.
I said,
Yeah.
forget it.
You
Forget
know,
it.
that's funny. I worked in a mechanic shop back when right out of high school. I worked in a mechanic shop, and that's back when they had the little Ford Escorts, and they'd come in, need a water pump. Man, we just hated putting a water pump on a Ford Escort. And then as things went on, you know, and got more complicated, we got to where we'd fight to put the water pump on the Ford Escort, because the rest of that stuff you couldn't hardly get to. I mean, it's like, you know, it's just, yeah. So I don't know. Alan Carr,
Like a heater core.
hello everyone. Hey, Alan, how everything going, brother? We just complaining tonight, ain't we? We just griping about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's one of those days.
Yeah. Well, we might be them characters like the Muppets that sets up in the balcony
Yeah.
watching all the idiots play down there. Because I seen myself doing that at a fairly young age. I can see myself in a few years up there.
Be up on the stand. You know, that's the thing, though. I think when they design cars, they need to have one redneck there that's a mechanic, just where he can say, look, guys, that ain't going to work, because they put some stuff in, like, why did you put it there? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
building
Well,
some
it's
of that
like
stuff.
these cars where you got to pull the engine to put a starter, that the starter literally mounts inside. I can't remember what car it is, but it the starter mounts inside the bell housing. And my only explanation to that would be is a engineer goes home work from early one day, and there's a mechanic at his house, and he's pretty upset, and he goes straight and engineers something like that to make it real life rough on all the mechanics.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there like a Bugatti or something that if you need to do an oil change, you got to pull the engine or something like that?
Oh yeah, there's some crazy things out there. But you know, like there's a lot of Cadillacs and stuff where you've got to pull the intake. Toyota's has got some like that. We got to pull the intake, put a starter on it. And I mean, you know, that starter is in constant heat baking, you know, in these hot summer days, if somebody's just sitting there in traffic with their air conditioning running, it's just killing that starter.
Well, let me ask you this question now. You got these cars, and I'm against it. We actually took my wife down there. I keep my wife drives a good car. I drive a piece of junk. She's got a good car. So we had to take it to get it serviced at the dealership. And they give me this little car drive, and I pulled up the stoplight, and it goes dead. Of course, me being a redneck, and I drive junk cars, it does that by itself. I'm mashing the gas and the brake, keeping that thing going, but it actually, they say it saves gas, so it stops, it goes dead. Then when you mash the gas, it cranks back up and goes. Man, that's the craziest thing. How long
they
was
got
this
that
for?
auto shutdowns, what they call it.
Oh my God. I've had that happen to me not on my car, but I've been at stoplights where the car next to me all of a sudden cranks up. My wife had just done that the other day. I go, yeah, sometimes people do that. I don't know what it was. Now I know what the hell it is.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I had to call my boy. I said, something's got to give here. I said, I'm about to wear them, because I drive with about 2 feet. I drive a brake and my foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, because I have to keep most of the cars going. You know what I'm saying? You have to do that.
I've done it.
But there's a switch, you know, that you can flip that thing off. But it looks like that would cost more to replace a dang starter than it would be the gas.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's
just more wear and tear on your engine.
Do what?
There's more wear and tear on your engine every time a car starts than when I'm driving it. So it's like, man.
Well, that's the dumbest thing I ever seen on it, and it run me crazy. But
well, there you go. It's the same thing. It's going to wear out, and then you're going to have to spend more money at the dealership to put it in.
And lane assist. How do y'all like lane assist? You know, when you drive and it keeps you in your lane.
I don't have that. I don't even have a TV screen on my dashboard. My Fusion, so it's,
you know, I was sitting here thinking, well, I wonder how mad the Cowboys got when they came out with the automobile.
Yeah,
I ain't never given up my horse.
exactly what it is.
You know,
Who wants to buy gas? I just feed my horse. I put him on the field.
I've got all kind of grass in the yard.
Yeah. And if I run out of my grass, I got my neighbor. I get his grass.
But you know, up here in the mountains, we straighten out the curves. I don't know if you know what we're talking about, but like when we go around curves, we don't stay in our lane. We actually
Oh yeah, no. It's the same thing with like on ramps too. You kind of drift, go over and then drift back.
But you get that lane assist and you have to fight it. And it's like, man, are you kidding me? This is,
Oh, that's right. That's why these new cars that drive by themselves. I said I'm never going to get in one of those. That would just drive me nuts.
yeah.
There on Facebook, there's a page that's called Tail of the Dragon. That one, the 129
Oh, yeah.
over there. And son, all of them guys on that page, they're not locals. They're not from here. And son, they want to burn someone at the stake if they cross that double yellow line. And
Mhm.
it's like, heck, we never worried about the lines going across the mountain. You
No,
know,
we
you
didn't.
just,
That's why
you know, it's just.
you always straighten out the curves. I'll tell you
Oh
something.
yeah.
My daughter's got one of them little old Toyota 4Runners or whatever it's called. And it's got that backup camera, you know, with the big thing, the screen comes on. I can't back her car up because I can't do that. I have to look at the mirrors. So I have to, at nighttime, I have to cover it up because it's so bright in the eyes. You can't see the mirrors. How are people going to back up if they ain't got a camera? They ain't gonna get to where they can. They ain't gonna how to back up, you know?
Well, see, it's like them Ford trucks has got that thing. You hit that button and it backs your trailer up for you.
I know.
Oh man, we're making sissies out of everybody.
That's right. You know, I want to tell you something. We go back real quick. When you get older, you get more voicing and you have the less filters going for you. So
Yes,
you can tell people more. That's why we all sound cantankerous.
Well,
and
the big thing
complaining
about
and stuff.
I guess you're right.
the only thing though is that if you didn't earn a lot of money, your old voice has no meaning to nobody. If you're real wealthy and old, then you might can influence a little bit. But
Well, yeah,
that's
us,
true.
Us old broke guys, we ain't gonna, you know.
No, that's
but,
for sure.
Well, I mean, just think they're like, oh my God, my backup camera's out. How am I going to put it? How am I going to back up? You know?
Well, you know, it's just like in school, my granddaughters are doing a new way of math that I don't understand. Luckily, their parents can do that stuff, but they have a whole different way of doing it now. Then they're talking about getting away with all signature, you know, cursive writing. You know, you talk about people that now you're talking about cars that back up and park themselves. I mean, when you go for driver's license, do you do a driving test for yourself and then have the car do its own testing, driving? You know, it's like, what the hell is this? Everything's made easier. People don't even learn. Sometimes people don't even learn math because they have calculators. It's like,
I think we might be in a matrix.
My grandmother would whip you if you pulled out a calculator and tried to figure out a problem. She would wear you out. There ain't no way she'd let you use a calculator. I mean, people don't. I don't know, man. We're old fogies now. That's what's wrong. Old men. But I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff you need to know how to do. And,
you do.
Yeah,
you definitely do. And you know, the backup stuff is nice because there's people that can't parallel park, but it's like, what? I mean, what would you say if your truck actually backed into some car or somebody?
Well, now there you go.
Runs out, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you get a ticket. Well, it's my Ford truck. The truck hit him. Give the ticket to Ford, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what the hell?
You got Tesla, and this guy, he was going down the road, and it was driving him. Tesla was doing the driving. The car, you know how it does it, auto drive, and he was drunk, and they pulled him over and gave him a DUI. Now, how was he? He was drunk, but the car was driving.
Yeah, that's
That'd
right.
be like getting pulled over in a taxi and getting a DUI.
I'm just getting.
We're gonna have to give the passenger
I can see it.
a DUI.
I can see this guy driving down the street. He's pulled over because he's drunk, and they grab him, pull him out the car, and say, "Okay, you stay here. We're gonna now impound your car because we're arresting your car. I don't care about you. We're taking the car in."
Exactly.
I'll do that. I don't know. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy world. You know, y'all. This is something I'm gonna bring up. This guy, he just started this YouTube channel. I do not know him. I think he's out of Alabama, but he sounds like he's a lot like us. He's got a bunch of junk cars sitting around his house, but it's 514 garage. But he has got the coolest little 71 Dodge Demon they just drug out the other day. Little 6-cylinder, 3-speed in the floor car. Man, I tried that. I said, like, sell me that car. That is a cool little car, man. The little 3-speed in the floor. I hate cars, you know.
Yeah, Demon's only 1 year car, right? Back then.
Yeah,
2 year, I think.
Was it 2 years?
Wasn't it 71 and 72?
I don't know. I know they got a lot of static over the name back then.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. I can ask. Hey, let's ask Google.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what it says here. Like, you know, they talked about bringing them back there one time, but I don't know.
But
Let's
didn't they
see
bring
what-
back a Demon a year or two ago? Well, on the
Right.
Challenger.
Yeah. That was the rich man's car, though.
I know that's a nice car. This
I-
is last year for them too, isn't it? Last year for
the
Challenger.
Hellcats. Yeah.
Is it really?
Well, see
Mhm.
what they need to do is that they were smart is they discontinue the Challenger and bring back the Barracuda,
Yeah.
and then you can keep the style the same. I've seen at the Muscle Car Nationals a couple years ago, somebody converted a Challenger into a Barracuda, like a '71
Yeah.
Barracuda. It looked really sharp, I'll tell you.
I really wonder where the car makers would be right now if they wasn't influenced by the governments out there.
Well, I think it was 71 and 72. If somebody out there is watching this knows more about the Demons than I do, I think it was 71 and 72 they built the Dodge Demon.
Yeah, I think it was. And you know, like my Duster, of course I call it a Duster, but my 70 it's a Plymouth Valiant Duster
Right.
because
Okay.
it's got Valiant badges on the fenders. But
That's
it was
cool.
still
That's the only-
Plymouth Valiant, you know.
Well,
My
it's
dad
just like
used to
the-
71, 72.
Just like the Pontiac GTO used to be, or one
Mhm.
time was something else, and they had a GTO package on it. So
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, everybody talks about the Fox body Mustang. I think the Valiant was the Fox body back in the day for the Plymouth, man. I just think that's because that car, they carried that car from what, 64 all the way through. How long did they run that?
That
The
A body
Mustang?
went all the way up to 76, wasn't it?
I
Then-
think.
Then
No,
they
the
killed it
70
off. in
73 was
in
the
se-
last. 73 was the last year for the Mustang, and then they downsized it to the Mustang 2 in 74.
Yeah.
Right. That was the.
But you know that
Turbo version.
them doing what they did with that Mustang too kept the Mustang name alive. You know,
Oh yeah,
there's
true.
there's a lot of Ford guys that hates them Mustang twos, but I like them little cars.
Mhm.
You know,
It's just a
and-
Pinto, basically, right? It's just a
Yeah.
Pinto.
But I mean, everybody had to do it. That was the only way that they know to get them government mandated fuel mileages was to make a little bitty car. I mean,
Mhm.
you wasn't going to get a great big C body Chrysler, get no, you know.
When I
the-
had
the
a,
big-
I had that set. I had a '76 Mercury Capri, little 5-speed car, and it's basically but it's I think
Yeah,
it's
it was
an English-
German. That was German. Now
Was
I
it
love
German
them
made?
cars. Yeah,
Okay,
them
now you had
German
a-
made.
It had a 60-degree V6 or a 90. I
Yeah,
guess
they
it was
call it the clone V6 is what it is. Clone
60-degree
V6.
V6. That little
Yeah.
thing was tough. Man, that thing was tough. That was a fun little car, but you never see the little 75, 76 Mercury Capris anymore. I guess they just fell off. I don't know if they just rusted in the ground or what, but that was a neat little
Yeah.
car. But did they not use the same V6 motor in the Mustangs, or what did they use? The
Yeah,
Mustang?
that went all the way up through. Technically, that 2.8 was when they come out with Rangers in '82.
Oh, that's a different motor. The 2.8 is different than that little 060.
It's still based on that same thing. It was approved, but it was clone V6 is what they call it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And but you know, they had them and them little Mercury Bobcats, and
Right.
there was a few of them that around, but they
God,
was a
I
pretty good little old engine. You know, and
Yeah,
it had a big timing gear in it instead of a chain, so you didn't have to worry about the timing chain stretching in it.
Right.
And but they was good little lightweight cars. But you know, in England and stuff, they didn't call them Mercury Capris; they called Ford Capris. That's what they called them in England. They was Ford Capris, not Mercury.
Yeah, Ford made some mistakes. All dealerships, but they made that. What was that little mid-engine car they sold it that back in '71 or what it was? I can't even think the name of it.
Pantera.
Yeah, they sold it as a Mercury Lincoln dealership. They sold them instead
Yeah.
of the Ford dealership. I think that's what killed. That's a cool looking little car. Of course, they had a lot of wiring issues on that thing, but that's a bad little ride.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a sharp looking car.
Yeah.
Now, you might be talking about that other car instead. The Pantera is a little bit. Pantera was really, I think it was a company that did all it. So I don't think they used a Ford drivetrain in it.
I
But
think
I'm
that's the one
trying
they sold it. They
No,
sold
but
it.
then there was
The
a
Pantera was
Brooklyn.
sold by Lincoln Mercury, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, that's right.
I can't remember which one you're talking about. That was in the '70s on that.
That's a little mid-engine
What was
car.
Presley shot his? Elvis
Huh.
Presley shot his yellow one.
Yeah,
Did-
It was, yeah, and there was a TV show called Switch that Robert
Was
Wagner
There
drove
was
one
a
of those.
there was a Brickland too. Was that it or?
Nope,
No,
that's not the Brickland.
that's a Saab. I think Saab built the Brickland, didn't it? Brickland or whatever it is. They're
Yeah,
three
and
cylinders.
it wasn't a mid engine either. It was front engine, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was front engine too. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Well,
Well,
what I'm waiting, where all these automakers has got their prices so far out of hand, now it's just a matter of time before China starts sending some cheap cars over here, because
Well,
the working class cannot afford to buy a pickup truck from none of the big three over here. They, and the cars, they don't, the cars is I think the cheapest car the last time I looked was a little Chevy Aveo, but to
That's why
me, it'd
used
be,
cars are so expensive right now.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Even used cars suck, because when I was looking for a vehicle, I actually wanted a pickup truck so I could tow my car to shows,
Mhm.
out of state stuff. But it's like, it was just ridiculous. I mean, and now all the cars are like over 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles, and they still
Oh,
want
yeah.
like 18 grand.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know a couple of guys that had bought used little 4-wheel drive. The one particular person I know bought it was like a 2018 EcoBoost 4-wheel drive truck. It had 211,000 miles. It was like $19,500 for that truck.
Good Lord.
With
Oh my
200,000 miles. I'm like, that's just a wore out truck. How's it worth, 200,000 mile truck? I don't care what nobody's, yes, there's still life in it, but at the end of the day, somebody that's got money is going to look at that truck and say, that's just a wore out truck. I mean, that's all it is.
I don't know about the Ford Maverick. What is the deal with the new little Ford Maverick? We got Allen's there. Cars and stuff.
That little Ford Maverick, I think, will be an excellent rig, but you cannot get them. Ford is not, I don't know if the supply chains or what, but they ain't none on the lot. I think they would sell several of them, it's got a proven drivetrain, and it's a little light duty truck, and
Mhm.
the price point, when the dealers ain't trying to fudge people, but when you're going by the window sticker, you can get a brand new little 4-wheel drive truck for $22,000, and most people can afford that payment. Working class.
Hey, let's go back a little bit. You talk about the little truck. There's a few Mopars that I'll probably never end up getting, but some of them I'm gonna try hard. I want a Little Red Express. I like to have the real Little Red Express. I've got a Warlock up here, just parts, but I'd love to have a little. But there's a guy here in Hiawassee got one of them little. Do you remember back when they had the little truck craze, and they cut the tops off the truck and all that stuff? And Dodge jumped on that with the Dodge Dakota, and they put the little convertible top Dodge Dakota out. Do y'all remember the little convertible
Yeah.
Dodge Dakota?
Was that a Shelby? Was it a Shelby?
No,
truck?
that wasn't a Shelby. It was just a Dodge Dakota convertible. And there's a guy up here got one, and he promised me if he ever sold it, he'd let me have it. But he's had it ever since it was new, and I see it all the time. It's a little red, got Dodge Sport on the side of it, little
Yeah.
convertible. But that would
I've
be a neat
seen-
little truck.
Of course, they made some Shelby trucks similar to that, didn't they? I don't know if it was
They
convertible.
did the Shelby truck, yeah, but it wasn't a convertible. It wasn't, and they's all numbered. I've got that Shelby Charger, which is just 2.2 front wheel drive. But that little truck was a pretty bad little ride. That little Shelby pickup truck was.
Going back to the day, that Charger, whenever when they made them little old Daytonas and stuff like that, and they put that turbo, them cars was as fast as anything on the road.
Right.
It was unreal how fast that little old 4-cylinder was. The V8s of the 80s was choked down with smog so bad they wouldn't
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, they were. Now, I had one of them, Dodge Daytona Turbo Z's.
Mhm.
And man, you smoke a Mustang in them back in the day, they just wipe them out. But that front wheel drive just don't get it, man. When you burn the rubber and it's coming off the front, it just don't look right. You think your motor is blowed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there ain't no good way to cut donuts either.
Well, backwards, man. You can go all day in backwards, man. Reverse and front wheel drive, I'm telling you, is the best. They talking about them burnout contests down there they're having. I swear, front wheel drive is the way to go. Just back out there and just start going around because they will go. Rabbit's used car channel. I don't know if I know that. I got to dig that one up. Said he bought one last year, so I don't know if I know Rabbit's. Well, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there, but I have to dig that up. I'd like to have one of them. But that's that burnout stuff they have down there in Florida. That'd be what. I wonder what they'd say if you backed out there in a low Dodge turbocharged.
Oh yeah,
drive, just started going
on
to
that
reverse.
big. You're talking about at Cletus McFarland's, ain't you?
Does anybody know how I can get down there? I want to race that Crown Vic race. I want to be in that or the
I think it's
Ford Ranger race,
invitational
the
only.
Ranger race. I'd love to get the Ranger race. Any of them, I'm all for that.
Once you get up there towards 100,000 subscribers, they might invite you because I think it's invitation only.
Can't I just throw your name out there? Hey, I know Sean Fat Tire Guy Thomas. Let me race.
They'll be like, "Who?"
That looks like so much fun, man. Yeah. I was thinking I was going to talk to Rakes about maybe if he could set up a section down there at Emerald and let some of these guys come down. It's close enough, to go down there to set up with their YouTube channels, and kind of bring their cars down and promote their stuff. That'd be a good thing,
Oh yeah.
But down at that Cletus McFarland, I don't know if I'll ever make it or not, but I'd love to go down there. But, we got Ray Cook. If y'all don't know Ray Cook, he's a big dirt track guy around here. He's got Tri-County Speedway. I thought
He was the king of the Have a Tampa series, wasn't he?
Yeah. But that maybe do something down there, but it's dirt track, a lot of this stuff. Most people are straight line drag racing, but I don't know. They just a lot of stuff to get, but just promote the channels and this, that, and I thought it'd be pretty cool. But
it's good PR for the show too.
Yeah.
If you guys are there,
yeah. But there's just like that No Name Nationals. That's a cool thing he's doing, man. It really, if you race or don't race, it's still a lot of fun. Go up there and get to see everybody and check out the cars everybody's working on, and on TV they look a lot better than they really are because of that. That make you feel better. You get up there, oh, okay, this ain't as nice as I thought it was. It's junk like mine,
True, very true.
Steven, you'll probably be at about 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year.
I don't know, man. It's hit or miss, and who
How many
knows?
subscribers do you have now?
Do
I
I
didn't
know?
see. How many subscribers do you have now?
3.
No, he's knocking on
1,
5,000.
2, 3. I got you.
Yeah. I'm over 4 right now, but I don't know. I don't know how to read the analytics. I try, but we're having fun. I've got the Cadillac. My biggest thing is we're just dragging stuff out of the woods, and that has been sitting in my daddy was a car hoarder, and I've been a car hoarder. And so I'm kind of at the age now where I've got my kids out of school and I can goof around a little bit on some of the stuff that I'm doing. It's really, something I've always done, but I've got never ending access for a while to junk cars. And my daddy has really, we've got of course, I didn't want to say this, but Sean's posted a couple times, but I've got a 70 Cornet RT that we used to drive back when we was kids. We still own that car. We never got rid of it. And I'm sure it's a number matching car. And we bought that car at Nut Shook Junkyard back when we were years ago. And it was actually Nut had set it up on top of another car with a forklift. And we went down there and bought it, and he set her down for us, and we brought her home, got her running. We drove that thing forever. We drove that car forever.
It's a 440 HP car too. It ain't.
Yeah, it's a Cornet RT, and they actually, well, somebody had painted it blue, and like it's got the side scoops on it where the RT's indented, and whoever had it bondoed them up where you couldn't see the RT in them. So I don't know why, but anyway, the bondos fell out, and you can see the RT in them. But we just, back then they wasn't worth anything. But
was that car a B5 car, or did they just paint it blue?
no, it's a B5 blue.
Yeah, that's what I thought. With a white interior, it's pretty good. It's good.
Oh, I think it's blue interior.
Is it blue? I was thinking it was white, but I could be wrong.
I think
you spent more time in it than me.
Yeah, it's blue interior with the black on top. Wow. But it's gonna need a lot of work.
Car.
But
but that's a nice car though.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a nice car if you fix it up.
Ain't nothing money won't fix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you have money, you have nothing to worry about.
I don't have money.
Unless you have health. If you have health issues, the only thing that's worse.
Yeah.
But
no. If we could all just get that letter in the mail like Forrest Gump did, and it says you don't have to worry about money no more. Well, that's one less thing.
That's right.
I don't know. I don't even play the lottery, man. I don't even do the lottery, so I ain't got a chance. I'm just gonna be poor and enjoy it. But I've got 257 Plymouth Fury sitting up there. One's got the factory 2.4 barrels on it. Got a 56, and then I got a Savoy we bought to fix the 56. But that 56 Plymouth, that block broke the flying mile back in 1956. That was the first hot rod I think really that Chrysler ever come out with.
Oh yeah, Dodge was really the leader.
Yeah,
the muscle car stuff when they like them cross ram intakes that they did and stuff like that. And
But that
You know,
56, man, that's got the prettiest body lines. It's got a little short top. It actually looks like it's even been chopped. The top looks like it's been chopped, but it ain't. But it's got a little short. It's got the high body lines with a little top on it. That 56 is a good looking car, and the Fury is actually white with the gold. And so I don't know, but Dylan wants to pull out. We've got a 61 Chevrolet Nomad that we're going to pull out, I think, next week and try to see if we can get it running while we're waiting on parts.
That you know, like them, was it 62, 61 or 62? Whenever the Max Wedge cars, and you know, they came with the 4-speed and everything, and you always hear people saying that the Pontiac GTO was the birth of the muscle car, but I think they're forgetting about that Max Wedge car.
Well, now you could directly buy. You could go and you could buy a drag car right directly from Chrysler with AC, no heat, no air, no nothing, aluminum fenders, and you just went out the drag strip and cranked her up and hit the road. I mean, they was turnkey back in the day. They was serious.
But you know, of course, everybody's got their own what they think. But I don't see how that Max Wedge car. You don't never hear nobody mention when they're talking about muscle cars that B-body Max Wedge car.
You're talking about 61 and 62?
Yeah, I think that's whenever they came out, wasn't it?
Well, I think now, all you Mopar guys, I'm a Mopar guy, but I think the problem was that GTO was a dang good looking car, and that 61 Plymouth was an odd bird, man. There's no
you know, yeah, but look at what GTO did in 2005. That was the ugliest dang car there.
I don't think that went over. Now, Jim, you're a big Pontiac guy. Did that GTO that year, is it worth anything? At all?
They are in price wise, especially if it's got low miles. There is a following for them. It's nothing close to what the GTO was originally to me. My brother-in-law actually wanted to buy one. He took it for a ride. He says he didn't like it at all. But it's you know, it's a matter of taste. But yeah, when you take a car like a Holden and change it into a GTO, it's not a purebred Pontiac. It's what people looked at it too.
Well, if they would have done a little bit better on the body design on that car and put a little bit better Pontiac front end on it because them GTOs are gorgeous, man. And my favorite was the 71. It's got the little rubber bumper on the front.
71.
Yeah, but you know, you're 71. Talking about them GTO, but I like them Dodges that, you know, that I know that it's probably just people's got their own, but them Plymouth that they had the 426s in and the Dodges, I like them body styles. They had a design that was I think that didn't blend in with the crowd like the rest of the cars did.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why it hurt their sales. I don't think they did too good that year on them cars, but I'm like, they grow on you.
The one thing about it is you they'd kick everybody's hind end at the track. So
well, what about
a lot of it is, I was going to say, a lot of it is how it's marketed too. I mean, you have a great marketing campaign on any type of vehicle that's performance wise, you should be able to get a pretty good turnout. So it might be a lot of, you know, Jim Wangers did a lot of promotion for the GTOs and stuff like that. And, you know, and Tiger in your tank or Tiger coming out of your hood and all this other stuff, it really stand out too. And they're really good looking cars too, the originals.
Oh yeah.
Well, now the 60. Okay, let me see. You had the Pontiac Le Mans. Tempest 61, 62, and they had a 63 Tempest. Or was that the Pontiac Le Mans they did in 63, which was still a small body, and then the 64 was the big one, right?
Yeah. I don't remember on the 63. The 64 GTO package came out.
But that was a bigger car. The 63 little Le Mans, I think that was a beautiful little car, and they're crazy. I've tried to buy them. They're crazy high, but they basically look like a Tempest. I mean, they're about the same body style as a Tempest, but they got the prettier fenders and all of them. Man, them are good looking little rides.
You don't really see none of them small Pontiac body cars though from that time period. I don't know.
No, they're rare as hen's teeth, man. That's it. Yeah. That right there, Chevrolet had it going on. What GM did, because that 63, and then you got the little Novas back then, and little Nova 2s they call them, whatever. Man, they were gorgeous. Whoever designed them were just, I mean, they're just
the 66 and 67 Novas, the money cars. You know, them cars. They're bringing big money. If it's a factory, if it's a factory Fast Nova with the,
Mhm.
I think they was 327s back in, but if they had the 327 and the high horse 327s, and them cars are bringing big money now. The
Yeah, in
60,
fact, I think the
66 and 67. Yeah.
67 is a preferred one, but 66 pretty much is the same car. I don't know
Right.
why one's better than the other myself, but
Yeah. And I think it's just all, maybe it's because it was the last year or something, but
That's true.
I had a 68 Super Sport Nova, and that was the first year of that body style. And I liked that car. It was a good, fun car to drive, get out, and it didn't have the original motor, but it had a hot LT1, real deal LT1 11.5 motor. And the only thing about it is you needed just about race gas to drive it, even though it was a factory motor, but that 11 and a half to 1 with the iron heads, that just ain't good nowadays with this gas we got.
Yeah. I don't know. I reckon Copperhead, I don't know what happened to him. Kind of worried me a little bit. I hope he didn't get snake bit or something down there.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Yeah, I hope that. It looked more like he knocked over his computer or something.
You might have to go back later and play in slow motion, see if you can see what was going on, Stephen.
I was going to ask him, he's got, some of them channels down there is hooking up to my channel, and then I always go back and return the favor, but they had a guy on the other day that had a Crosser Regal, 1979 or 80 Crosser Regal. I always thought it's funny how they got the Regal down there, and we got the Butte Regal here.
Yeah.
That is crazy, ain't it?
But they were talking
that's
about
weird.
that. But he said that actually that Mitsubishi took over the Crosser division in Australia. And I don't know if he knew anything about that. I didn't know that. I didn't know Mitsubishi had took over the Crosser. But you could tell on that car, the inside of the car looked like a Mitsubishi, but on the hood looked like a Valiant, basically.
Wow.
But I don't know. It's always new. I was wanting to ask him. He knows all that stuff down under. But he's trying to get to America. So y'all out there listening, go subscribe to his channel. He's really got a pretty good channel. He's really working hard. Yeah, he's working hard at it.
And he's a good guy.
Jim, I'm fixing to have to get off here. I got to work tomorrow. I know you get to sleep till 9 o'clock. I don't get to.
And actually, I sleep till 7, but then I go to bed, back to bed at night.
Tell these folks how they can get to the Sullivan Files. Now, this is the Rockford File guru. If you're a Rockford File fan, this man right here has got it going on. He knows everything about it. Where do they find that at? And he's old and he can't
typepad.com.
What is it?
JimSuva.typepad.com.
There you go. And you got all that. You actually tell stories and stuff. Tell them a little bit about what you do on that.
Well, right now I'm working on a story as I've actually sent some pictures to Stephen. A guy named Dan Wolf did the original photo shoot for Mike Post for the Rockford Files title sequence beginning or opening of the show. And he took Garner around and Mulberry around, and they did a photo shoot, long distance camera, so everything looks natural, no posing. And they used some of those pictures in the title sequence. Well, Dan Wolf at one point moved his offices, and he wanted to clear out a lot of old junk. He was getting rid of awards and stuff like that. And so he, my friend Richard, who sold these to me, found them in a cabinet. Opened the cabinet up, there was 2 shopping bags full of negatives. So he said, "What do you want to do with this?" And Dan Wolf said, "Trash it." So he took it over to the light bar, looked at it, and sure enough, it was all the photographs that he took for the Rockford Files. So he put them in his trunk and kept them for years. And then a couple of years ago, he got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you like to buy these?" And I said, "Well, I have no idea how much they're worth, whatever." So we talked about it for a couple of years, and I got them this past year. And now I'm writing a story, and it'll have pictures. I've sent the pictures. I've already sent Stephen.
I think that's cool, man.
Yeah,
Picture
it's
book.
neat.
Yep.
It's neat. And I've done other interviews with people that worked on the show, and it's a cool story. It's got some other star cars in it too.
I'm all
Hi,
about
John.
that. Hey, John, you finally make it
John.
out of the. Where'd you eat at?
I'm still down in Blue Ridge, man. The Cracker Barrel took over an hour to get our food.
Oh man,
It was terrible. So
I'd hate to upset the Cracker Barrel. Don't they bring you like free biscuits or something if they're late?
they brought biscuits and then they offered us more biscuits later on. So it was, our waitress was just really bad.
Yeah. That,
We watched everybody else get food while we were waiting. You know, it's just one of those deals. So
well, I just get up and I just go over and sit down with them. Say, y'all care if I sit here with y'all? Let me have one of them biscuits.
I was like, my girls are, can we trade waitresses? Can we get somebody else?
That is
But
so funny.
I went down and I shot a bunch of videos, so I'm going to put it together. But we went to that Savoy Auto Museum, and that was pretty cool museum. I would say was not as good as the one we used to have over there in Young Harris, but still a neat one to go to. They had some pretty cool stuff there.
Where's it at? I'm gonna go. I know that
It's
one
in
guy.
Cartersville. I wouldn't mind going again. They change out their stuff quite frequently. They got some
Yep.
stuff that stays, and they were loaded up with some like pre-war runabouts and race car type stuff. You know, real stripped down. They had trying to think off the top of my head some of the stuff they might have, that they had there, but they had some. One was a early Ford that was stripped down. They had some, just speedsters and stuff like that with the, made out of some luxury cars, big, huge things with just nothing but boards for floors with a top speed of 120. They had a Kaiser Darren, which is a pretty rare car. Some neat stuff, Chrysler Airflow and things like that. They had, but my favorite car there was it was a '59 Eldorado Briz convertible, Harley Earl Motorama car. It was one of 5 built, and this one was one of 2 known left to exist. And it had some really cool features, just real cool style to begin with. But it had a magic eye for automatic high beams, and then on the back deck there was this little pad. The car was called the Raindrop car because it had this little sensor on it that if a drop of water hit that pad, in less than a minute, the car would put its top up and roll the windows up if it was parked in a parking lot somewhere. And it just cool, man.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
That
You know?
Bill Martin, I'm supposed to go down to his shop. He's got 2 or 3 cars down there. I'm gonna go down and do some stories on his stuff, Bill Martin. But he's supposed to have a couple of cars down there in that museum he put in there. Some he's got a few of them old, like you say, just wagon wheel cars. I call them old 28s and 27 and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna go there and check that out. But well, man, you caught us on the tail end of this thing. We're all tired. We're gonna go to bed.
That sounds all right by me, man. I'm ready for that too. Hey,
We said we didn't have anything to talk about while we was here, so we just talked about you the whole time.
yeah, I figured.
Yeah. We don't know if we ought to be praying for Copperhead right now, but we don't know what happened to him, but he got abruptly cut off.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think
There
he got
There was some
COVID.
kind of commotion and then
So what, was everything going fine? And then just before he got cut off, he went, ah! Because that was,
no, it was almost like that. So,
He actually walked away. When he came back sometime later, I think he knocked over his computer and that was gone.
Yeah.
he may have got too big of a shot of coffee or something. I don't know.
got attacked.
Maybe he had three teaspoons of Vegemite.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a guy I'm gonna try to get on next week that does a big Corvette show out in Texas, and I've been
very
trying to. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. He's got a big show out in Texas, so we're doing that. But anyway, all right, fellas, I appreciate everybody watching and all that good stuff, man. I don't know all you unfinished projects and the rest of you riffraff out there that joins all us riffraff, but maybe Eastern Hot Rod will get out of the restaurant a little earlier and join us next week.
I'll be here. Well, I'll be there. I'll be at my house next week.
Okay. All right, guys, y'all be good. We'll talk to y'all next week.
You got it. Have a good one.
All right, man.
Hey.
Bye.